The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Everyone, welcome to Royal Palm Beach Council regular meeting. It is Thursday, June the 18th, 2026. It is now 6:30 p.m. We're delighted to have everybody here. If you all would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Please have your seats. And again, welcome. We're delighted to have everybody here this evening. We have 3 guest speakers tonight, and I think it's a record. We're delighted to have all 3 of you here. You're going to be sharing some information with us that I know is really important, and we appreciate you all taking time out to be able to inform us of these important things. A lot of things going on for sure. Before I go any further, a couple of administrative things. First is to Madam Clerk, if you would make sure that the roll reflects that all members of the council are present.
Yes, Mayor.
And then we have a beta test going on right now. We have a system of kind of lights, but it's more an electronic version using iPads. I think the Board of County Commissioners does this. They use lights themselves. We're using an iPad, and it enables us to, or me, to recognize any of the members of the council who wish to speak at a particular point in time, allows me to then recognize them in the order in which they have indicated they wish to speak, and we think that'll be helpful in regards to efficiency and also to make sure everybody has the opportunity to speak when they desire. As I said at the beginning, it's a beta test, so hang on. We're not really sure exactly how well this is going to work, but we'll give it a try. I think it's a good idea. So with that said, then moving on to the actual agenda. As I said, we have 3 special presentations, and the first one is from our state representative, Javante Edmonds. We're delighted to have you here, and we really appreciate you taking the time out. I think there's a lot of stuff going on up in Tallahassee, right?
Yes.
And we're looking forward to hearing you share with us what's going on up there and any suggestions you have about the role we might play in that. So welcome. The floor is yours.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, village attorney, manager, clerk, thank you all so much for having me. My name is Javante Edmonds, and I proudly serve you all as your state representative for District 88. District 88 is the PowerPoint? Okay. District 88 covers Lake Park, Riviera Beach, Mangonia Park, West Palm Beach, and the great village of Royal Palm Beach. And so we had another long session. This session ranged for about 60 days, almost 2.5 months in addition to what we're supposed to do. Our only constitutional responsibility is to go to Tallahassee and pass a budget. And so we did get that budget pass done on June 2nd. This legislative session, we saw 1,800 bills filed, and only over 200 actually passed both the House and the Senate. And to date, the governor has signed over 120. On top of the legislation we saw in Tallahassee, there was over 28 appropriation projects also on our laps to decide between. I know he's up next, but I got to give a quick shout out to Rep. Caruso. My first year in the Florida House, I passed my first law because of Rep. Caruso, and that was to help put Narcan in every college and university. So it's always good to see a former colleague. In the Florida House, there are 120 members of the House. This past session, there were 87 Republicans and 33 Democrats. That is what's known as a supermajority. And this particular year, all members are up for election. Each member of the House are assigned committees between 4 and 6. I'm honored to have 6 and be the ranking member of the Health Professions and Programs Subcommittee. And I was honored to be on the Property Tax Committee as well. This particular session, I passed 2 bills, the House Bill 253, the Veterans Dental Care Grant Program. Essentially, we're allowing more access for veterans so they can get dental care. I got my first root canal maybe 2 months ago, and that thing almost took me down. So it was after I passed the bill, so I see how intentional this bill was and how important it is. House Bill 4035 for Palm Beach County, myself and Senator Bernard, we passed this legislation to help with contracting licensing permits. And so we streamlined the process and made sure it's transparent. So those who are developing in this community, they're doing it with smart growth in mind. House Bill 311, this bill did not pass and made it to the last day of session, and this is my actually passion project. We're going to ask corporate companies to pay for their employees' first home up to $5,000 and let them write that off to the state. And so it's a win for the state, for the employee, and for the company, and that's something we're going to bring back next year. On top of passing legislation, we have to bring dollars home. And so we were fortunate enough to bring a few $1 million home for some important projects, whether that's a water plant or repavement. Our job is to make sure we secure that funding to help our community. The budget we passed this year was $114.5 billion. That is a lot of money, but that is actually less than the previous budget last year. And so we're looking at the largest retirement population in 2030. Our baby boomers are retiring. And so we are going to continue to see a deficit in our state budget. That's something we have to be mindful of. And as we know, property tax looks like it's on the table as well. One thing that was very important, we restored $60 million back to the Tri-Rail system. That was something that was cut last session, so it was important that we fought for that funding and got it back. I love talking about the My Safe Florida program. That is a $10,000 matching grant to help fix up your roof, your windows, your doors, and make sure you're ready for any hurricane mitigation. So I've always promoted that program to our residents. I want to make sure Palm Beach County takes advantage of it. HB 399, this is a very unique and important bill. It may not affect this village like it affects some of our urban cities, but essentially if a developer comes in and he applies for a project and he meets all standards, whether that's planning, zoning, and permitting, he can basically be approved for that administratively. It may not go before a commission for a vote. It may not have any public feedback, but that is what HB 399 does. And I tell every city in my district to make sure we do our research so we can be proactive if situations like that occur. Senate Bill 1434, again, this is more relevant to my urban areas in my district, but this will allow any developer that finds a parcel and it's labeled a brownfield. That means it was once contaminated, maybe like an old tire center, an old warehouse. It had former contamination. You can then take that parcel and build affordable housing on it. House Bill 991, this was essentially eliminating access for students to use their IDs to vote or any retirement home IDs. So now you must have your Florida state license to vote. Of course, we also had a special session on redistricting. If you can see on the screen, one of the biggest districts changed is District 22, which really starts almost in Wellington and stretches all the way out to Naples. It doesn't even fit on the screen. Formerly, District 20 ran up to West Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, but that district was cut in half, and now it's only going to be exclusive to Broward. And the district that represents us is District 23, which is Lois Frankel's district. Property tax, the most important topic. And before I even start talking about property tax, I always like to lead with, I think the biggest issue is homeowners insurance, not property taxes. So currently right now we have a $50,000 homestead exemption. If residents pass the referendum in November, that homestead exemption will increase from $50,000 to $150,000 starting January 1st. Starting January 1st, 2028, that $150,000 homestead exemption will become a super homestead exemption at $250,000. And starting the year after, the homestead exemption can continue to increase by the consumer price index, so it can go even higher than $250,000. If you have not homesteaded your property within 5 years, you will not receive the exemption, so you have to wait 5 years of homestead to actually receive it. And those who are non-homesteaded, those second homes, are corporations. Right now we have an annual assessment cap at 10%. That 10% is going to be moved to 5%. Last but not least, SB 484, it's about data centers. It makes data centers pay for their fair share if they decide to move in our community, and it provides transparency on how many or how much of utilities are being used for other residents. So I'm going to stop there. I know you all have a lot on the agenda. If you all have any questions, I'll take your questions now.
Okay. Well, thank you for that presentation. Does any member of the council have any comments or questions for Representative Edmonds?
Don't be shy.
Okay, well, look at that. All right, let's try that. So, Councilwoman Samuels, you are recognized.
Good evening, Representative. Thank you very much for coming, and congratulations on your recent nuptials.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I agree with you as well, is that it is our homeowners insurance, not necessarily our property taxes. I appreciate how you fight for our Safe Florida home, because I agree with you on that, and I've been to Tallahassee to fight for it as well. One thing that I did bring up a couple times when you were here before was the homeowners insurance, and what are we doing to bring in more opportunities for people to come in? How is it that it is raising at a fair rate? I just received mine and it went up $1,500. I have new windows and a new roof. So these are concerns that, you know, a lot of our elderly residents can't afford to stay because of this. So what are the chances we're going to have other opportunities for more competition?
That is a phenomenal question, and transparently, we did not see a lot of legislation targeting homeowners insurance, and we haven't seen it in the past couple sessions. There was a tax credit put forth that will allow you to write off some of those purchases for your home, but nothing in a massive package that we're able to digest right now in Tallahassee. Me and Senator Bernard put forth a bill that will allow insurance companies to actually reimburse you if you haven't filed a claim within the past 5 years, unless there was a natural disaster such as a hurricane, and still there will be some compensation for you. So we're looking at different pieces of legislation that can help, but right now, our attention, I guess now, is on property taxes.
Okay.
And thank you for the question, Council.
Vice Mayor, you are recognized.
It's so good to see you, Representative Evans. Oh my goodness! Again, congratulations on your marriage, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
God, we're just all over the place with concern, definitely about not only the property tax but the butchering to the map. That concerned me as well, and the losing healthcare providers is also an issue. Is that going to be readdressed, you think, in the next session?
That's something we can definitely take up. What we have been doing is trying to create more transparency in billing. There are legislation that passed this year and previous years that is just trying to create transparency, but that has been to the extent of it at this point. But I would love to sit down with you and see what we can champion together.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Right. Any other members of the council? Yeah, look at that. How about that? Councilwoman Rodesky, you're recognized.
Thank you. I had to push my button here.
I just,
Representative, thank you for being here. Always very informative and educational. Two questions. One, would you mind sharing your PowerPoint with our staff so we can put it on the website for residents? Also, can you walk us through in broad strokes the steps it takes between now that there's a plan for property tax to the ballot, from where you guys finish to where it needs to go to the ballot? Like, what are the steps in between?
Great question. So in a special session, we took up the plan for property taxes. It was addressed in the House Joint Resolution, also known as the HJR. So essentially, when we pass a House Joint Resolution, the House votes on it and the Senate votes on it. It passed favorably. I'm so sorry, that's my wife. And so when we passed it through the House and the Senate, it goes directly to the ballot as a ballot amendment. And essentially, the governor doesn't have any input. He cannot veto it, so it goes straight to the ballot as a referendum for 60% of Florida to pass. And so if it passed with 60%, it will enact January 1st, 2027.
Thank you for that.
anyone else? Okay, well then, I do have one follow-up on that property tax. I understand there's some pending litigation or possible litigation that may affect either the language or even the successful placement on the ballot. Are you familiar with any of that? Can you share that with us?
I haven't read too much into that, Mayor, but I think however litigation goes is going to end up on the ballot.
Okay, then let me follow up with another. What would you suggest we do in this situation? Do you have any thoughts? You've seen it flow up there, so you have some insight that we don't have.
Honestly, Mayor, I think that's a question every council, every commission is trying to figure out themselves. What I know they believe it's going to boil down to is paying for services. So the services you offer, there will be additional fees for it. I don't think that's the solution, but that is what they're leaving us as an only option. There are even proposals on the table to cut the business tax that you all have the power and authority of. That was on the floor this year. And so there's going to be more cuts even coming down the pipeline. And again, there is no fund to replace the funding that you may lose. So that's a question that we can work through together.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. With regard to homeowners insurance, when we were in Tallahassee, Florida League of Cities, Palm Beach County, I don't remember which, we thought we were actually going to get briefed by someone from the Office of Insurance Regulation, I think, right? I think we met their PR person. We really didn't get much of any kind of an indication of even what they do or how they do it, which would have been helpful for us. Are you engaging with that office?
Yeah, I believe the insurance commissioner is doing actually a good job. He is bringing more insurance companies to the state. I can understand how swamped and overwhelmed he is, but I can definitely make sure you all two connect and see the actual progress he's trying to make here in the state of Florida.
Okay, well, of course, engaging with him, since the word regulation is in the title, it would seem like doing some more rigorous regulation might actually be helpful. And so we appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Mayor.
If you see any targets of opportunity to really make a difference on property taxes, please make sure you reach out to us and let us know how we can help you help us. But thank you and congratulations. Tell your wife hello for us.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, our next guest speaker is Palm Beach County Clerk of Circuit Court and Comptroller, Mike Caruso. Clerk Caruso, I know Clerk Caruso through a number of different community service activities, all the way back to working on Palm Beach County Cares and in a warehouse together once. So
that's right.
We go back a ways. And so thank you for your service, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say from the clerk's office.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor Sharps, council members. I am excited to be here. Mike Caruso, I'm the Clerk of Court and Comptroller of Palm Beach County. I got appointed back in August of 2025, and it's been game on ever since. I'm excited about it. When I was in the Florida House serving with this young man, you get a red button in front of you and a green button, and you don't get the choice of whether to hit it or not. One of them, you don't get that a present bill, a present button, no present button. There's a page button to order a soda, but there's no present button. So every time you vote, you hit a button, and half the state of Florida loves you, half the state of Florida hates you. And then 20 minutes later, another bill comes up, you hit the button, it doesn't matter which one, but now the ones that hated you love you, and the ones that loved you hate you. And you just can't win. But as clerk of court, we're just here to help. We're it's operations, it's service to the community, and that's where we are. So a couple of things I want to talk about today are things hitting everybody in our communities, like scams and fraud and things like that. And before I do that, you guys have your work cut out for you. You really do, with this new property tax provision that's going to be on the ballot. It's I guess the only thing you've got left in your arsenal is utility fees, and there's not much. I don't know how y'all going to do it, but I wish you the best. And if there's anything I can do to help you, I'm there for you. When I came to the Florida House, when I came to the clerk's office, I wanted to modernize the vendor payment system. As clerk of court, I'm responsible for operating the courts, maintaining them, and supporting the judges, 57 judges of 5 courthouses in our county. And we do that. There's also the other side where I'm the comptroller and responsible for paying all the county's bills, for monitoring their budgets, for maintaining their debt payments, that sort of thing. So that's one of the things to do. One of the things that my priority was when I came in was to modernize the payment system in the county. And we're working on that. We're getting through that. Advocate for a statewide searchable database, to where if you wanted to look up what mortgages or what debt Mike Caruso had, or filings for Mike Caruso throughout the state, right now you have to go to all 67 counties and look me up. I think we should have a unified database. We're working on that too. One of the things I work with is the Florida Clerks and Comptrollers Coalition, and we all get together and we meet, and that's one of the things we're actively working on, is to get that unified database. And the other thing, my priority I had, was to protect our citizens against guardianship fraud and other scams and fraud that are out there. And one of the big ones that's out there right now is a couple scams that involve the clerk's office. One is tickets, traffic citations. They call you up. They literally say, "Hi, this is Mike Caruso calling from the clerk's office, and you had a traffic violation, and it's due tomorrow. And if you don't pay, your license is going to be suspended. And if you get pulled over, you could be arrested and your car impounded. And whether you don't get pulled over or not, your fines are going to double." All of which is kind of true in a sense, but understand these are criminals calling you. And eventually what they do is they create credibility by repeating everything that's on that traffic citation, which is everything on your driver's license and the traffic citation itself. And you think, well, who else would know all this information except Mike Caruso, the clerk of court? And they're right, but it's not Mike calling, because all that information, once you get a traffic citation, is public record. It's public record, and they have it all. So they create that credibility, and then they do urgency by saying it's due tomorrow, and it is due tomorrow, because they're looking literally at your ticket. And you end up giving your credit card, of course, and you didn't pay your ticket. If you do get pulled over, you're going to get arrested, maybe, have your car impounded, and you're probably going to have your credit card maxed out. That's one of them. And what I say is, no matter how credible they sound, no matter how good it sounds, if you have one peppercorn of doubt and one mustard seed of doubt, don't give your info out. It's as simple as that. And you should have a mustard seed of doubt the moment somebody calls you and asks you for your credit card. That should be the antenna, okay? So if somebody calls, somebody texts, somebody emails you, and eventually they get to a place where they're asking for your credit card information or your personal banking information, it's a scam. It's not maybe a scam, it's always a scam. And just understand that. Another one that hits, it's jury duty. Palm Beach Sheriff's Office deputy calls you up and says, they'll say that there's a warrant out for your arrest for failing to show up for jury duty. Understand, my policy is not to issue any warrants for not showing up for jury duty. I hope that people voluntarily show up for jury duty. And we get actually about a 98% success rate of people showing up. Okay, and the 2% that don't show up, I'm not calling the sheriff after them. Okay, and drag them in there. They're going to get dismissed anyway. But they say that, and then they work your way to where they sound credible, and eventually they ask you for your credit card to pay off your warrant. They're so good. They are so good at what they do. They focus group the scripts, okay, that they're using, and they're so good. I got this call 1 week after I took office. 1 week. I'm the clerk of freaking court, and I get a call, and they're so good that I believed them, and I was shaking. I can't believe I can't get arrested, is what I'm thinking. And I pick up my wife's phone and I dial Rick Bradshaw, and I go, Rick. I got the others on mute. And I go, Rick, I got a call. He says, Mike, hang up the phone. It's a scam. Don't worry about it. I said, no. This sounds real. He says, Mike, it's a scam. Trust me. If there's a warrant out for your arrest, I'm not giving you a courtesy call, okay, to let you know that that you can pay it off. We're just going to send a sheriff deputy after you, knock on your door or bang it down if we have to, and put you in cuffs and in the squad car, take you to Gun Club Road. So don't get caught up in that. Understand that's it. And those would be bad days. If you got either one, if you fell for any one of those two scams, okay, it would be a bad day, maybe a bad week, or a bad month, depending on where you are financially, okay? Because you're going to take, from a few hundred to a few thousand, maybe $10,000 from you. But here's one that's a bad life. and it's for your whole community, and we got to watch out for this one. They no longer want the junk in your house. You know how they used to break into your home and steal stuff? No, forget that. They want to steal your home now. And what they do is, in 1 hour, they download a quitclaim deed, and then they forge your name signature to it, and they forge a notary signature to it, and they file it in the courthouse, and literally, they now, on paper, own your home. Okay, and it's bad. It's escalating exponentially throughout our county, throughout our state, here's what here's how bad it is. Alexia Cox, she's our state prosecutor. I said, Alexia, how bad is it? We got 650,000 properties in Palm Beach County. How bad is it? She says, well, two years ago, Mike, there was 4 cases. I went, oh, okay, 4 cases, not too bad, not an epidemic for sure, right? And I said, okay. She says, a year ago, we had 32 cases. I went, that's a big of a pop, but percentage-wise, but it's still 32 cases out of 650,000 properties. Not too bad. He says, last year, September 30, 2025, 184 cases. Oh, the antennas go up. Something's wrong here. It's escalating. We're over 650 cases already this year.
Wow.
We're going to have 1,500 cases this fiscal year, and probably around, I'm estimating about 7,000 or 8,000 cases next year. And that's 1 out of 80 homeowners or property owners is going to have their property stolen. So what we do is, in addition to going to I don't know where the rep went. Is he still here? He's gone. In addition to we went to Tallahassee this year. We tried to get some laws changed. I think it was not the right environment, right year for it. It didn't pass. Common sense bill would give me more tools in my toolbox to stop this when it's at the beginning, before it gets filed, these bad fraudulent documents. But it didn't happen. We're going to go back next year. I think we got I got the ear of the next Speaker of the House, and Sam Garrison, and the Senate President coming in. And hopefully we can get some good legislation passed to put an end to this whole situation and kill it when they try to file it and get them arrested when they try to file a fraudulent document. That should be against the law right there, and we should be able to stop it. So that's what I've got. Beware, be smart, and be safe, and don't fall for the scams. When in doubt, don't give your info out. It's as simple as that. And I just wanted also to point out, Mayor, council members, we have an office right here in Royal Palm. And so if you could get the word out to your community that if they need something in our system from the clerk, they can go right downtown here, and they don't have to go drive in the West Palm Beach or anywhere to do it. You drive to West Palm Beach, you're fighting traffic, you're paying parking, and you're probably going to wait 2 hours. At Royal Palm, they're sitting there waiting for you to come in, and we're going to be expanding that office even. Right now, where you pay your traffic fines there, court fees, established payment plans. We have payment plans that are as little as $1.50 a month, and you can establish those right there in our Royal Palm offices. Record a document there, get a marriage license, obtain legal forms, and pretty soon you'll be able to get a passport there. That's what's coming to the new office. So we're excited about it. So we say don't go west. Here, just stay here at home. Go right down the road and take care of your court record filing and that sort of thing. So.
Great.
Questions, if you all have them, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise I appreciate the opportunity for being here tonight.
Vice Mayor, you are recognized.
It is so good to see you.
You too, and you knew about the marriage license.
I know, but I talk to them all the time. Question, I miss being able to, renew my license there. You think that'll ever come back?
The tax collector left.
I know.
Yeah.
You think you can talk her into
I think
coming
you
back?
need to talk her into building her own building here. She's got more money than any of us, and because she collects it, and before she gives it out to anybody, she's taking her big cut. And so she'll probably hear this and be all over me tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
But I do not. But there you can take care of it out in the Belle Glade area, which is,
Westlake.
that's not too far from here.
Westlake.
I'm sorry?
It's like,
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So, sorry. Not my, she's all separate from me.
That's okay, I'm excited about the passport.
Oh, passport, yeah, that's coming right here.
great.
Yeah, that's
Councilman
going to be
Blanchard,
good.
You are recognized.
I just wanted to thank you, Clerk Caruso, for bringing, I think I first saw it on a commercial and presenting it again to us tonight, is the fact with the deed fraud and basically the theft of the houses. I've actually handled a couple of appeals in cases out of Broward County, and it's, these people get pretty sophisticated. They troll the obituaries. They find people who do not have, representatives or someone present in their life to manage their affairs, and they sweep in and they do exactly what you said. They create fraudulent documents. You go out and I mean, some of these poor victims were, not only was their credit ruined, but, whatever their mom or relative had was sucked all up by this person who not only they either get mortgages on it and pocket that money, or the gall of some of them, they rented those houses out. Some people, so another victim, they've got the legit documents and they can show the people. So this is, and it's sad to see that it's on the rise, but I think, people need to be vigilant, and, you've got a great website. Just, hey, every once in a while, I mean, it's a nerdy thing that I might do, but just go to your property appraiser's website and check that you still own your house, basically, because it's there and it's real easy to check up.
Yeah, it is.
So-
And we have a property fraud alert. I mean, you might have seen it on TV, to where some guy who used to do it for a living, he's a felon, okay, and we can notify you if anybody tries to steal your property. So, but understand, you've got to give all your personal information to a felon. You've got to give him your credit card information. He's charging you $300 a year, and you have to renew every year. And worse, he's not going to tell you they don't notify you for a week to 10 days. Our system, it's free. You do it once, you're done, and you don't have to renew. And we notify you the moment it gets filed. We hit the button to file that phony document, even though I don't want to file it, and we send them off, copies of them off to the PBSO, okay? But I have to file it by law. So we do that. The moment we hit the button, you're going to get an email. We attach your email to the property, and the moment it happens, you get an email saying there's activity on your deed. We don't just say it's fraudulent or not. There's just activity on your deed. If you click the link and it is fraudulent, we ask you to call the police, get a case number, call us, come into the clerk's office, and we'll file a application for quiet title. And we get the judge to sign off on it, and that kind of locks your property down. But you still have to fight to get that fraudulent document off your record. There was a woman who had her property stolen 8 years ago. She got it back last month, and it only cost her $150,000 in legal fees to get it back.
Wow.
Sad. It's sad. Like I said, it won't just ruin your week or your month. It'll ruin your life. If you're elderly and you're fixed income and you're living in a home that's all paid off, we think property taxes are bad. We think property insurance is bad. We think condo assessments and condo SERS, assessments and 100% reserves are bad. Those are bad, but my gosh, when they steal your home that's paid for, that's as bad as it gets.
Councilwoman Rodesky, you're recognized.
Thank you for being here. You have appropriately scared us all.
I can tell you that if you go to mypalmbeachclerk.com/PFA, and I've got flyers here, I'll pass that over to you.
Awesome.
Or just call me. My cell phone number is 561. It'll be on record. 561-702-9319. Text me. Don't call me. Text me. And just say property fraud alert, and I'll call you back. We'll get you signed up. It takes us 2 minutes. My team takes them 2 minutes to sign you up, and we can verify that you are signed up so that you can sleep at night.
There you go. Thank you. My real question, though, is If you had a crystal ball and we anticipate that the property tax amendment will pass, how does that affect your office and the services that you provide through the county?
Well, I fall in line with all the other departments in the county, all the constitutionals and the county itself, and that it's going to affect our budget, and we're going to have budget cuts. There's no other way to do it, and as a result, our community is going to have fewer services. And I speak in front of organizations all day long, and groups of people and homeowners associations and things like that, and communities, and often elderly. And I go, who's excited about the property tax? Property tax changes coming our way. You're going to save $1,500 a year, and they go, and most of the hands go up, and I like, interesting. I said, who's excited about having to wait an extra 4 minutes for fire rescue when you're having a heart attack? Really? That's going to happen, clerk? Well, going to have to cut the fire department budget, fire rescue, by $184 million in Palm Beach County. They have a $700 million budget. That means they got to close about 1 out of every 2 stations. So yeah, it's going to take another 4 minutes, 5 minutes for them to come see you, save you. So I don't know how valuable and how much you treasure that $1,500, but that's what we're facing, and we're all facing it. So, it could be every. I don't like laying off people, but the cuts that they're talking about are going to probably end up where that I have no other choice. 85% of my budget is payroll. So. The other part of it is IT.
As I always say, you can't run programs without people. So
I'm sorry?
you can't run programs without people.
No.
So people look at personnel as some extraneous or some frivolous expense when those are the people who are providing the services.
Yeah.
And you can't do it without people.
You know,
so.
strangely, and they say, cut your payroll. When I came on board in August, I had 40% of my team making $16 to $18 an hour. You could go to Starbucks and make another $2 to $4 to $6 more as a barista, and no responsibilities. Here I've got clerks serving with judges, running that courtroom, and they're making $16, $18 an hour. I've since given them all. Now they make $18 to $20 an hour, but my hands are tied as to what I can do, and even that's criminal. Yeah. And these are some extremely talented people, brilliant. If you understand the clerk's office, our work is complicated. Mm-hmm. It's extremely complicated, and we don't get to be right 80% of the time. Or baseball, you get to bat 300. You bat 300 in baseball, you're an all-star, Major League Baseball player. We have to be right 100% of the time, because if you're filing your deed, you don't want me to record it wrong. Right. Okay, it creates a nightmare for you. Okay, can't get a mortgage, can't get this, can't get that, because you don't show up as the owner because I screwed up. You don't want that. And we have to be right 100% of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions from council? I do have one comment.
Yes, Mayor.
We registered to that alert program. So.
Oh, you did?
We did, because you scared me enough.
Okay.
And
I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, you did your job really well, and we do feel much more secure at this point. And when you think about the size of that investment, probably the largest that most of us ever make in our life, right. And to have the ability to lose control of that. And we were hacked online once, and trying to recover control of that, which really didn't have the kind of value or the kind of importance to us that our home does. Right. Absolutely. It's the right thing to do, to get out and talk to people about that. So I appreciate you doing that.
It's my mission, to protect our community and the people in it, and from the worst kinds of fraud. And I'm not going to stop till all 650,000 properties are signed up. And I appreciate the opportunity to share with you, and hopefully you get the word out. And we're going to leave. Walter, where are you? You got more flyers? we're gonna leave a stack of flyers on the front chairs here.
Great.
And it'll be on property fraud and going to the Palm Beach, the Royal Palm office.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming here and sharing this information
Thank you,
tonight.
appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening. Thank you. Okay, next, we have representative from the County Commission on Ethics. We know Gina Levesque. She's been here several times. She is the Intake and Compliance Manager. That's an interesting title. And she said that she has something new to offer tonight. So
Well, those
am I
are some
overstating it, or?
Those are some difficult acts to follow, so
Well,
I hope I don't bore you guys to tears.
I'm sure you will not on this topic. So, Ms. Levesque, you have the floor.
Most ethics missteps we see don't start with bad intent. They start with uncertainty. Good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is Gina Levesque, and I serve as your liaison to the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics in my role as Intake and Compliance Manager. Today, I'd like to briefly focus on how ethics shows up in your daily responsibilities and how we can support you when questions arise. Before I do that, let me briefly explain who we are and what we do. The Commission on Ethics was established to promote integrity in public service, build public trust, and ensure that private interests do not interfere with public duties. We provide oversight for more than 12,000 public officials, employees, advisory board members, and certain vendors and lobbyists throughout Palm Beach County, including all 39 municipalities. Many of the matters we address involve well-intentioned employees and officials navigating complex situations involving relationships, outside employment, vendor interactions, or perceived conflicts of interest. And these are not always clear, and that's where we come in. Our role is not just enforcement, it's guidance. We are here as a resource to help you navigate those gray areas before they become problems. Whether it's a quick question or formal advisory opinion, reaching out ahead of time can make all the difference. Advisory opinions, in particular, provide guidance based on your specific circumstances, and when relied upon in good faith, they offer protection moving forward. If there's one takeaway I'd like to leave you with, it's this. If something causes you to pause, even briefly, that's the time to reach out. You don't need to be certain there's an issue. You don't need to know whether or not the code applies. If you're unsure, ask. You can find resources or contact us at palmbeachcountyethics.com or by calling 561-355-1915. Thank you again for your time and for your continued commitment to public service, because ethics isn't a moment, it's a mindset. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any member of council have any questions, comments? No. Well, I would say, of course, we get our annual training, which, as I was telling you before, I don't think it can be repeated too often. There are always new experiences that can be shared with us, and we appreciate what you do in your job, as well as the opportunity to be reminded of our guidelines and requirements for ethical conduct, which is really important. I mean, you said the word trust, public trust, and that's the only way we can do our jobs is with that. And so we thank you for what you do, and thank you for spending time with us tonight.
Thank you. There should be a new training coming out in a couple of months. The one on our website is pretty old, and we will have a new one soon.
Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, then. Next on the agenda are reports. So we'll begin with council reports. Let's start with Councilwoman Samios. Would you like to begin?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this night. Actually, and along the lines of what Clerk Caruso was saying, is thank you very much to our Recreation Department for providing classes for our seniors about elder fraud, cybersecurity, and bank fraud. So please check with Shakira over there if you need more information and when the next classes are. There are, through the library system, so free summer lunches provided for 18 and younger, and that's at all Palm Beach County library systems. Summer reading has also started, so for those of you with kids in school, they love to hear that because they thought school was over with, but that runs through July 31st, and they do offer a lot of great prizes and activities throughout that as well. And then since most of us are on the FIFA kick, so congratulations to our RPB Soccer Club for being accepted into the U.S. Club Soccer. This is an important milestone for them because the club's commitment to providing the highest quality developmental environment for its players and teams is what's been recognized. So congratulations to them, and you can read more about them or about our soccer team at rpbstrikers.com. That completes my report.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Valentes.
Yeah, I know two of our speakers had already previously mentioned it, but in the legislative section, we're going to have a ballot amendment about homestead property taxes. I'd just encourage people to get informed about it, know what the implications are. I mean, what it means for our property tax bills, but also, as the clerk mentioned, what it's going to mean for services, what it's going to mean. I mean, it'll be difficult, as he mentioned, for his job, but you know, basically do your homework and please show up in November and make your voice be heard. Second thing, tomorrow is Juneteenth, and we are having a concert tomorrow night at Commons Park between 7 and 9. So I'd encourage people to come out and celebrate the holiday. Earlier this month, we had the wonderful, great job. Thank you, Mark and staff, for our Memorial Day event. You know, the Boy Scouts, the American Legion do a wonderful job, and I really appreciate honoring the people who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And then finally, both the mayor and I were at the CAFSI Scholarship Awards night, which it was, you know, that's always a great event. It gives you hope that so many young people, especially when, you know, 2 or 3 of them are looking to be medical doctors, and, you know, I think one of the recipients went to MIT, or is going to MIT, which is quite impressive. And we even had 2 from Royal Palm Beach High School, so that's good because this is, you know, a countywide scholarship. Mm-hmm. So impressive kids, and future's bright. So.
Do you know one of them?
I actually did know one of them this time.
I thought you did.
That was a good thing. Second year in a row, a member of the Royal Palm Beach dance team has won one of the scholarships. So hopefully we'll keep that streak alive next year.
That would be your daughter.
Yes.
So, yes, to be clear.
And that's all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for this opportunity. The reports were absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Councilman, for mentioning Juneteenth. I was definitely going to talk about that. It is an important holiday. We've been free-ish, ISH, since 1865, so I'm happy to say that it is now a federal holiday, and it's a good thing, not just a holiday, but just the fact that we actually celebrate that we found out that we were free-ish. Memorial Day was absolutely fantastic. The Junior ROTC did our flag, presentation of flags at the annual Rotary dinner last Saturday at the Cultural Center. And Royal Palm Beach just really went beyond the call of duty as far as making sure that that center was ready, it was open. They helped me with anything that I thought I had a problem with, and I'm really grateful to them. And of course, PBSO Center Officer, that was absolutely fantastic. And I tried to make him eat, but he wouldn't. But we knew that he was there. The event was really, it was good. We won't talk about that. But it was really good. It went real well. Franny's Restaurant, which is in the Burlington Co-Factory, has a new owner, and the new owner is the original young lady that was there that grew up in that restaurant. So if you all, have a hacking or a knack, if you want to have some good breakfast, go by there because they have some good food. They're only closed on Tuesday. And there's also Einstein Bagel that just opened up. Yeah, I know. I'm a food person. By Burlington Coat Factory, right there on that corner. You know where you go down to where Popeyes is? Yeah, it's right there. And they were giving away free bagels. No, I did not get one, but I do know that they did it. So I'm really excited about that as well. That plaza is growing by leaps and bounds. And then the mayor and I were a part of South University's graduation, so I'm sure he's going to say something about that. But what really impresses me every time I'm even involved, and it was great to be involved with this particular graduation, to watch the nurses and the medical and the business graduates walk across that stage going into their new life, that new chapter, and just to see the joy on some of their faces and then the absolute fear on others, like, uh-oh, now what? But it was great. They did a really good job. And so I'm happy that she invited us to be a part of that, because that is, those young people are our future. And so it's really imperative that we remain in touch with these schools as well as the high school. And I think that's it, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Brodowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Next week, I will be participating in the Florida League of Cities Fast Fly-In, which is why am I blanking on the name? The Federal Action Strike Team. I know it sounds so tough. But representatives from around the state will meet with our congressional representatives to advocate on the following issues. Community resilience and disaster preparedness by improving efficiency of FEMA. PFAS, contamination while protecting local government from financial and legal burdens. Simplifying local government grants by standardizing applications, and hopefully equitable access for small and mid-sized cities. Community development block grant funding increases to support housing and infrastructure. The reauthorization of long-term national flood insurance program, infrastructure and transportation, and then preserving tax exemption status of municipal bonds. So we have lots of topics, and we will be in small groups visiting our representatives both in the House and Senate. And that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me turn to village manager and see if he has a report.
I just have one. I haven't heard it yet from anybody, but July 9th is our next budget workshop, our annual budget workshop meeting, which we'll be discussing our annual budget. It's our combination of our operating budget and our capital is about $48 million for Royal Palm Beach. $34 million is our operating budget, and we will be talking about the revenues and the funding that we use for that. And just a brief preview of the funding. We are funding our Sheriff's Department at just under $10 million, our Parks Department at just under right at $7 million, and then we have Public Works and the rest of the departments are below that. Public Works is at 3.8 million, and then the others are lower that. The big ones are the Sheriff's Office at 10 and the Parks and Rec at $7 million. And if this tax thing goes through this next year will be a much harder budget workshop. We're going to prepare this budget workshop with a lot more discussion on where the money is spent. I will have each of the department heads kind of describe their personnel services and the services that staff provides and the contractual services. If you look at that, that's 80% of the budget. So hearing that gets the meat of what staff does, all the positions that you were talking about earlier do, and how the money is spent. Obviously, there's another 20% of other costs that we were looking at minimizing and cutting back to. So, but the budget workshops is July 9th, and I do suggest people really pay attention, because this flyer that our representative put out, this is a good flyer. He did a good job. I mean, Children's Services losing $43 million. In this county, we voted to have Children's Services. We voted to fund that. We voted to be taxed for that. For it to change that much with just a simple vote that saves you money, it's reversing a lot that we have done over the last 20, 30 years to put these institutions in place. And destroying the institutions by starving them financially is another way to go about it, I guess. But July 9th.
Okay, great. Make sure it's on your calendar, everybody. Come listen, participate. Our attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to give you an update. You all saw last week I circulated what I was hoping would be the final draft of the legislative memo. It was not. It still had a draft watermark on it because several of the bills, I think 8 in total, had not yet been, at the time I sent it last week, presented to the governor for action. As of this past Monday, all of them have now been sent, but as of when I left the office to come to this meeting, they had still not been signed. So I tell you that to tell you that I'm going to send you the final memo, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 days. He usually signs pretty quickly once they're presented to him. He has 15 days, so it'll be quick. I'll get the memo to you as quickly as I can. The reason for sending a draft was because many of the bills have fairly significant impacts on staff, and many of the bills become effective July 1st, and here we are at June 18th, so we were running out of real estate in terms of time to make some adjustments in terms of village operations. So with that, I wanted to highlight just a couple bills that have a lot going on, many of them with financial implications for the village. We've talked about in past meetings the sovereign immunity increases that finally happened this year. That no money comes in addition to the village, right? That's just an additional exposure to the village, whereby those caps are going from the current $200,000 per person and $300,000 per incident to $350,000 per person and $500,000 per incident. So additional exposure to the village. The next one is a very significant bill. It's House Bill 803. It's the building permit and inspections bill. I'll only go through a couple of portions of that. It's effective July 1st. It's already been signed by the governor. It allows for single-family permits to expire 1 year after issuance or the date of the next Florida building code, whichever is later. Very strange, but that means that single-family residential building permits last for what could amount to years, because the building code is only updated every couple of years, every 3 years, I think. So significant impact there. I think I told you at a prior meeting, it also requires a uniform commercial building permit application that requires integration into the village's permit system. So the state is going to create a uniform application that we then have to implement into our system for use by our residents within the village. No money coming into the village to implement that, but that's a requirement of the village. A big change to inspection fees in this bill as well. It limits local government's ability to collect inspection fees. Those fees used to be based on project valuation. They can only now go up to the maximum of the actual cost for the village to conduct those inspections. So no longer a percentage or any kind of equivalency to the project valuation. It's now actual time. So a huge change in monetary amount, but also an administrative burden in how do you calculate what the actual cost to the village is to do the inspection. Is that just the inspector's time? Is that costs for the portions of the system that the inspector uses to record the inspections? A lot of things to think through there. Another big change for single family, the bill exempts from permit requirements single family dwellings with a value of $7,500. So if the value of the work that you're doing on a single family dwelling is $7,500 or less, you do not have to get a building permit anymore. Another big change is it prohibits the village from requiring private provider agreements as part of the building permit application. So in the past, we used to require, if someone was using a private provider to do inspections, we would require a copy of that agreement as part of the permit application. We can no longer require that. It also requires the village to reduce permit fees by a minimum of 25%, for commercial projects. So again, a reduction in the amount of fees that we can collect if someone is using private provider to do inspections or plan review services. So again, sort of privatizing and disallowing the village to collect as much fees when private providers are used. The next bill I wanted to highlight for you is 399. It's a land use and development regulation bill. It was signed into law at the end of March, on March 30th. The big change is it requires application and development fees to be reasonably related to the direct and reasonably indirect costs associated with review, processing, and disposition of applications. So what does that mean? Your development application fees. So your fee that you currently charge for, let's say, a special exception application or a site plan review application. Your current fee structure has a fee amount, and then you recover your consultant fees. There's now limiting language in the state law that says that amount cannot exceed, as I said, the direct and reasonably indirect cost of processing the application from application through the public hearing process. So another limitation on fees. And it also says in the language that it, again, cannot be based on the construction value. So this is another bill, one of several over the last few years, that is getting away from a project valuation and going towards an actual cost limitation in terms of what the village can collect. The other unfunded portion of this is it requires the village's comp plan and land development regulations to include factors for assessing compatibility of allowable residential uses in residential zoning districts and residential future land use categories. So we'll have to do a sweep of our code and our comp plan and make sure that we are addressing now and have language that meets the requirements of state law. So again, a burden on village staff to do that. The final bill I wanted to report on is H.Bill 927. It's a land planning and development bill. It goes into effect July 1st. It requires the village to establish a contractor registry by January 1st of 2027. That contractor registry has to contain 4 qualified contractors or 2 qualified firms to supplement local government resources for pre-application consulting, permit reviews, and plat approvals. So we have to come up with a registry that we post on our website. If we fail to do that, the applicant for those services can choose any contractor, any qualified contractor that they want. The part that I want to note for you is that it requires the village, if an applicant chooses to use a qualified contractor, to provide public records and provide information to assist that person or that contracting firm to assist them in doing the work that they have been hired to do. So it puts the burden on the village to provide public records and provide information to allow a private entity to conduct a service. So a shift in how things are done, a fairly significant one. It also establishes some shot clock review time frames in terms of when the village receives applications and how fast we have to reply and either approve or deny or condition things. So that's the bills. Again, I'll get the final memo out to you as soon as all the bills have been hopefully signed by the governor or otherwise disposed of. The last thing, if I may take the latitude to talk to you about very briefly, is I put on each of your desks a copy of this. This is from last year's session. It's a training requirement from Senate Bill 180, and everybody still has nightmares about Senate Bill 180 from last year and all the wonderful things, air quotes, wonderful that bill did. The reason I bring this to your attention is that this week it's come to our attention that the Florida Division of Emergency Management has created this fact sheet, which is before you, that considers you all as elected officials as being covered by this emergency response training requirement that was implemented through Senate Bill 180. The statutory language itself does not specifically say that elected officials are required to do the training, but this fact sheet, when you read it, clearly says in the second paragraph that current elected officials shall be compliant no later than July 1st, 2026. So we have an inquiry into the appropriate contacts here to confirm that this is correct, but I wanted to bring it to your attention because, again, it's June 18th and July 1st is right around the corner. So I can't sit here and tell you or advise you not to do the training. I think this fact sheet would suggest that you should do the training. The first bullet you'll see there is called Florida Senior Elected Officials Course. So they are certainly opining, they being FDEM, that you are required to do this training. So I would encourage you to take a look at the training and act accordingly based on what is stated on this flyer. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that reminder, that heads up, or whatever that last item was. It's clearly a responsibility that we need to pay attention to, which actually segues nicely into my report, which is that at yesterday's League of Cities meeting, We heard from the Director of Palm Beach County Office of Emergency Management, Mary Blakeney. She did an excellent presentation. She always does. And she captures our attention at the very beginning, talking about the fact that we're at the very beginning of the hurricane season. Timing wasn't quite perfect because the first named storm occurred a couple hours after she got off the stage, but we already have our first named storm for the year. It's Arthur. And what she did tell us, though, was that National Hurricane Center forecast, I'm sure some of you have seen it, actually has a lower, less active season predicted. I think they have 14 named storms, 7 of which are likely to become hurricanes. What she did remind us of, excuse me, was that I think we all remember Hurricane Andrew. She said the prediction that year was a low activity storm prediction. And her point is it only takes one storm. And so all of that is just to remind everybody that getting prepared is something that's really, really important for all of us. And there are a lot of Palm Beach County materials available and alerts available. And so she encouraged all of us to get engaged, get the apps, and be ready for the upcoming storm season. Earlier today, I had the opportunity of attending the Palm Beach County Metropolitan Planning Organization, used to be our TPA. And one of the things we did was kind of administrative, but it's significant. And that is we approved both the FY 2026-2030 Transportation Improvement Program and also the LRTP that goes 2050. The real significance is number 1 and number 2 on the list of priorities on both of those plans is State Road 7 extension. And the really good news is that the money has not moved out. It is staying where it is, which is, I think, FY 28, 29, and 30. So the money being available for the extension and the widening of State Road 7 to North Lake is in there. I also wanted to mention that the Countywide Transportation Master Plan continues to be worked by WSP, which is the consultant team, and they actually held the first really, really complete presentation they conducted on the 5th of June, and it was done online. And the really good news is it wasn't just for the executive committee, but it included 50-plus members of the Issues Forum. And the Issues Forum is made up of representatives from each one of the municipalities, as well as other organizations, stakeholders. I thought it was a good presentation. It's the most complete information I've seen so far. And it's available on pbcmoves.com, pbcmoves.com. And so please take advantage of that. Take a look at those briefings. Give it some time, though. There's a lot of information on every one of those slides. And if you spend some time, I think you really get an idea about some of the proposals, some of the recommendations that they're coming up with. It is still in draft, and it is still available to influence. One way to influence it is to attend one of the remaining 4 public meetings that will be held physically. The nearest one to us is at Mounts Botanical Gardens. I think it's the Hutchinson Agricultural Conference Center. And so that is on July the 1st. I think it's from 2 to 4 o'clock. I'm not absolutely sure about the time. But again, pbcmoves.com, you can find out what time that presentation is. And it will give you a good idea of what they're proposing. And it's worth paying attention to, but it's also worth showing up if you have some particular concerns about our area, and that's the opportunity to influence this before it gets to the final stages, which will be sometime in September when they will present to the Board of County Commissioners for their acceptance and perhaps adoption. Not really sure how that's going to play out exactly. Wanted to talk about the fact that we did have, as Vice Mayor said, an opportunity to attend. Actually, it wound up being something on the order of 10, maybe more than that, combination of of graduations and scholarships. And the wonderful thing about that is Vice Mayor used the word joy. Those environments are just full of joy. They just exude joy. I mean, even the kids who are racing across the stage because they really don't like being up there were joyful in their own unique way. But it was a great opportunity to engage with our schools and to show a presence, show an interest and involvement in our schools. And it was a unique opportunity for us to engage with South University, as the Vice Mayor said. This was the first time that we were invited to participate. And of course, the healthcare industry is really, really important. That's not the only discipline fields that that university actually has. And of course, they're right here in Royal Palm Beach. I had a chance to, I think a couple of us had a chance to actually tour the campus. And it's a beautiful campus. They have fabulous equipment and facilities, which, by the way, they make available. So they're good community partners. Love the idea of being connected with them. I think it's going to work out really, really well going forward. That completes my report. Did you have something, Councilman Fuentes, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I guess I kind of want to follow up a little bit on the village attorney's report as far as the training, because I seem to remember, and I don't know if it was an email that went to the entire council, and I guess I'm asking the entire council too, because I got something and it seems like I already did all that training and I don't know how. I'm assuming it was from an email from the village, and at the end, because there were a bunch of questions and things you had to do, and it was all about emergency management. It was a structure from federal level going down to locals and what everyone's role was. And I don't know how I came upon that, but it had to be some kind of information that I got as a village representative, or possibly from your office saying, hey, this is something you might have to do. I don't know if anyone else on council has done it or has.
Well, I got a reminder from Chris Wax.
Okay, so that could have been what it was.
So it's a reminder kind of a thing. But that is a requirement as far as we can figure it out, right, at this point?
I'm not familiar with the email that you got, but I'll double check with Ray's staff, and if you've already taken it, great. I just wanted to flag it tonight, just in case you hadn't, because I didn't want you to miss the deadline.
That's a great thing, because we don't want to blow our July 1st deadline. That's not too long.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. So let's continue moving on then. This is the opportunity for any petitions to be presented to the council this evening. Do we have any?
No, Mayor.
We don't have any. I'm assuming there isn't any online. Any petitions in the audience? Not seeing any. We'll close the floor to petitions tonight, and we'll open the floor to statements from the public on non-agenda items or consent agenda items. I have one comment card from David Sanger. Come on down. Please introduce yourself and state your address. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Dave Sager, and I live at 10559 Misty Lane, Counterpoint Estates. Last month, Councilwoman Samios wanted to move the December meeting from December 17th to December 3rd. When I did my comment card, I saw the last page of the agenda, and it is an agenda item, so I'm all for that. Just because the move will conflict with any holiday season, being Christmas, Hanukkah, and the council members and residents may be on vacation during that time on the 17th, and therefore will not be able to attend or be limited in their availability at that time.
Okay.
So I'd like to move that we do that meeting and make that a permanent decision, if we can vote on that. Secondly, the Royal Palm Beach website, is that up and running for the residents? Because I've signed up for it, but I haven't received any confirmation or notifications about anything. Maybe I didn't click something that was supposed to be clicked, or but if I'm having difficulty, I'm assuming that many residents may also be having difficulty with that.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, you might want to talk to our clerk, and,
okay.
And then we'll follow up also generally just to make sure.
Another issue that's come up in my neighborhood is the Royal Palm Beach Boulevard widening program. Is that going to get paved soon? What's the completion date for that?
Do we have a,
Don't have that information. I know they're within their timeframe that they did, and it's moving along. I just don't know the
okay, all right.
I know the striping is pretty bad. They've got one lane paved, but the turn lanes, it's getting a little complicated, and didn't want to see anybody that I know have an incident.
Chris, are you there?
I'm here. They're scheduled to be back Sunday. They're going to mill the other side of the roadway Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and then they're scheduled to finish the paving Wednesday, Thursday. That's the schedule. Obviously, weather could change that, but then there'll be a period of time before the final striping goes down because the asphalt has to cure. So we're probably looking at another at least 3 weeks before we get the permanent striping down.
Yeah, as long as the asphalt gets down, that's the important thing, because right now it's just all barrels and barricades, and you're trying to navigate, and it's a little complicated out there.
Absolutely.
So,
I understand. All right, thank you.
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Did you wish to say something? No, Chris answered. Okay, all right, great. Okay, moving along then to the consent agenda. Well, I guess I should ask, does anyone else have any comments while we still have the floor open for public comment? Come on down.
Hello, my name's Tim Woodcock. I'm at 145 Sandpiper, and I thank you for all the work that you do. I would just like to start by saying I think maybe the $250,000 is way too high, for the homestead numbers. I think maybe 150,000 is probably better, but anyway. Oh, and also, I would like to say, as far as homeowners insurance, I just went through Harvest, and they're the broker, and they found me insurance. I was paying $7,000 a year for insurance. I just got a brand new metal roof, and I'm down to $2,700. So, and that's a company called Swift out of New Jersey. So, anyway, I was wondering about the lake spraying, the chemicals, the glyphosate, the herbicides that we're putting in the lakes. I was wondering if there was any progress in, because I was here a couple of years ago to talk about possibly adding some Asian carp to control the weeds. And I'm seeing now that Challenger Lake used to have carp, and I think they might have died off at this point, because I noticed that they sprayed, and it's really ugly what's going on, all the dead vegetation. It's really sad. I would like to see something done with that. I'm not sure if anything's been done about that, but well, I did want to, the parking in the streets. Everyone on my street now thinks that the street is their driveway, and it's getting to be an epidemic. And when I lived in Counterpoint Estates 20 years ago, if you parked the wrong way on the swale, you got a ticket. And now people can just park in the street for any length of time. Cars sit there for, weeks on end with no movement. And I watch people try to navigate the streets, and it's inconvenient to hundreds of people every day. So I was hoping maybe, and I don't know, what jurisdiction, maybe the Sheriff's Department needs to okay that, or maybe it's a state thing, but I'm trying to get that resolved. And the Tuttle project, I'm wondering what the progress is on the Tuttle project. I haven't heard anything about the progress on that. I know there was a foreclosure, and I guess he's out now, so I was just wondering if maybe anybody knows what's going forward with that.
Okay. All right. Well, see if we can come up with off the top, real quick responses to some of your questions. Want to take the easy one first, the carp?
We can't get permitted to put the carp in our canal system because we can't contain them. They swim away.
Well, I remember they had them in Challenger, and they were like 40 pounds.
But we can't get permitted from the Fish and Wildlife to do it because
Okay.
They ended up out there, I don't know how they ended up out there, and they do eat the grass, but they don't stay. Tuttle property, you're right, is foreclosed on, there's a new owner. We have met with the new owner, and he's got a planning team put together that, as far as I know, they're putting an application together to submit to us for the next phase of that project.
Is that going to be sort of the same as it was in the beginning, or? Okay.
That's what I was to understand from them. I mean, for them to change the land use and the zoning of that plan would be a couple of years. That's not within their schedule. They want to get it moving quicker than that, so I think they're going to, they lose us that they would pretty much stick to the existing plan that would not require land use and zoning change.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
And the other one was counterpoint parking?
Well, parking, they do have to park in the, our ordinance says they got to park in the direction of traffic.
Right.
They can park in the street, and they can park in the swale area for up to 24 hours.
And I understand they have to move the car at least once a day. If they're going to park in the street, they have to move the car. Well, I've noticed a lot of cars just sitting there for weeks. And is there any way to get the sheriff's department to create revenue? I mean, there's got to be a deterrent at some point. I don't mind people having parties and parking in the
Understand.
street when that happens, but it's really inconvenient for a lot of people. And I
Well, that's a
think-
code enforcement issue, right? So again, you just brought it to our attention. And as I tell a lot of folks, don't hesitate to talk about things that you're concerned about, things you like, because your eyes and ears are more than ours. And so we just add it all together, and then we're able to deal with issues in a timely fashion. So I
really
appreciate that. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I could comment on the last thing. I agree with them on the 250,000. What that does in Royal Palm Beach, we have 15,000 parcels. We have 10,500 homestead parcels. Over half of them will not have to pay local tax.
Because of the 250,000.
I'm homesteaded, and I'm going to
Right.
vote against it because
Okay.
that's just that's insane.
And so share information with others, because that's part of our approach too, is to do that. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
and thank you for this.
All right.
This is fantastic.
Great. Okay,
Have a good night.
Thank you, too.
close the floor to public comment and move on to the consent agenda. And I will ask Madam Clerk to go ahead and read consent agenda into the record, if you would.
Yes, Mayor, I will. Thank you. Number one, approval of the minutes of the council regular meeting of May 21st, 2026. Two, approval and authorization for the mayor to execute a traffic control jurisdiction agreement between Pinehurst Village Homeowners Association, Incorporated, and the Village of Royal Palm Beach. Three, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into a use of facilities agreement for government entities with Palm Beach County for the village to host the Palm Beach County Division of Senior and Veteran Services Congregate Meal Program. For the term of this agreement shall be from August 17, 2026 through August 16, 2027, initial term, and will automatically renew for 4 additional consecutive terms of 1 year each, renewal term, unless sooner terminated as provided for herein. 4, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into the first addendum to annual Carnival Ride Services contract with Florida Carnival and More Incorporated. Extend the term of the agreement for the first 1 year renewal term commencing on July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2027, in an annual amount not to exceed $102,680. 5, approval and authorization for the village manager to enter into the first addendum to agreement with RMPK Funding Incorporated for the provision of grant writing services for the first of 2 available 2-year renewal terms commencing on July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2028.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council care to pull any of the consent agenda items? Okay. Not hearing any, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Vice Mayor, you recognize.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion to approve the consent agenda as it has been read with any necessary corrections.
Councilman Melendez.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any opposed. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thanks for the help reminding me about my responsibilities in this new electronic world. All right. Thank you. And so we will begin then the regular agenda. And this evening, we have the opportunity to hear from Captain Ulrich Najux on the topic of the annual report for District 9 PBSO. Captain, the floor is yours.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Village Manager, Council, once again, I'd like to thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to present my annual report to you. This will probably be this will be the 13th year in a row I've been involved in it, and I think the 9th year I presented it directly to you. I think I have one more to go after this, and then I'll be turning over the reins to someone else. So that being said, it's been an honor and a privilege to be here, and it's been an honor and a privilege to present this to you tonight. Before I proceed, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Harry Hook. He's our criminal intelligence analyst. He is responsible for taking all the data that we receive from the state and from all our other divisions and comparing them and contrasting them to make sure that they are accurate. Years past, we got some information from the state that wasn't necessarily right. Our numbers were lower. He found it, and he's responsible and credited with a lot of things that go on tonight, including the information I'm going to present to you tonight. That being said, our first slide is community outreach. At District 9, we believe in the importance of community involvement. As such, some of the activities we are involved in include, but are not limited to, National Night Out Against Crime, the annual Principal and Clergy Breakfast, which the village manager is kind enough to attend with us, our annual Walk Your Child to School Day, the Bike Helmet Program, Career Day, Shop with a Cop, or more appropriately a deputy, and our Business Partnership Program. Our support statistics. District 9 is one of 4 designated areas in the county that provides fingerprinting. In 2025, District 9 processed 1,699 requests for fingerprinting services. The mounted unit provided 17 hours of horseback patrol in the village. Marine certified deputies provided 56 hours of marine patrol. The District 9 ARU specialists handled 558 calls for service, and our deputies processed over 242 pounds of unwanted prescription drugs that were dropped off at District 9. Our calls for service. Those calls for service are the number of calls received from the community. Our computer-aided dispatch system, also known as CADS, captured a total of 149,419 incidents last year. Of those 149,419 incidents, 128,743 were proactive calls such as business or residence checks, traffic stops, assistance to motor vehicle drivers, etc. The remaining 20,676 were law enforcement calls for service. Please note there were 276 less calls for service in 2025 than there were in 2024. Calls for service decreased by 1.3%. And as I said every year, this is the meat and potatoes. This is the actual numbers that tell us how we're doing in the village. It's the UCR report. The Uniform Crime Report, or UCR, measures the crime rate per 100,000 individuals. It does so by recording crime in 7 major crime categories. Those numbers are then compared to the previous year's numbers to determine an increase or decrease in the crime rate. The 7 major crime categories used are: number 1, murder. There were none in 2024 and 1 in 2025. The UCR reflected no percentage change in this category. Forcible rape, or otherwise known as sexual battery. There were 12 sexual battery cases investigated in 2024 and 19 in 2025, an increase of 58.3%. Robbery, there were 8 in 2024 and 5 in 2025, a decrease of 37.5%. Aggravated assault, there were 43 in 2024 and 48 in 2025, an increase of 11.6%. Burglary, there were 21 in 2024 and 29 in 2025, an increase of 38.1%. Larceny, including auto burglary, there were 542 in 2024 and 402 in 2025, a decrease of 25.8%. Motor vehicle theft, there were 23 vehicles stolen in 2024 and 11 stolen in 2025, for a decrease of 52.2%. Overall, our clearance rate for the 7 categories listed above rose from 37.8% in 2024 to 38.6% in 2025, for an increase of 2.1%. The changes I just described above caused the total crime index for the village of Royal Palm Beach to drop from 649 in 2024 to 515 in 2025. This resulted in a decrease in the crime rate of 20.6% in the village of Royal Palm Beach. In a moment, I'll elaborate on some of the crimes so you have a better idea of some of the circumstances involving them. I provided a UCR statistical comparison slide here for you so you can see where we are and where we've been. It'll give you some perspective so that you see our total crime rate remains lower than in years past. Our robbery incidents. Of the previously mentioned 5 robberies, 1 case was cleared by arrest, 1 warrant was issued, 2 cases were domestic related, 2 cases involved pizza deliveries where pizza delivery drivers came up and their pizzas or their money was snatched and grabbed, and 1 case involved a homeless victim. Larceny incidents. As I previously mentioned, there were 542 reported larcenies in 2024 and 402 in 2025 for a decrease of 25.8%. Of those 542 larcenies, 245 were shoplifting cases. Shoplifting decreased 27.3% in the village of Royal Palm Beach. There were 158 shoplifting arrests, 14 more in 2025 than in 2024. Out of the shoplifting incidents, 157 occurred at Target, 54 occurred at Walmart, 11 at Lowe's, 3 at Costco, and 2 at BJ's. These shoplifting cases accounted for 60.94% of all the larceny incidents in the village of Royal Palm Beach. Larceny incidents also include vehicle burglaries, which I'll go over in a second. Burglary incidents, residential burglaries. In 2024, there were 12. In 2025, there were 9. This resulted in a 20% decrease in this category. From 2021 to 2025, residential burglaries in the village of Royal Palm Beach decreased by 25%. Of the 12 residential burglaries that occurred in 2025, 1 was domestic related, 3 were items taken from garages or open porches, 1 was a foot pursuit where the subject fled and unlawfully hid in the victim's backyard, 1 involved the rear sliding glass door that was smashed, 1 involved the key left under a doormat, and 2 involved empty apartments occupied by the same homeless arrestee. In other words, it was an unoccupied apartment, the same individual broke in. We arrested him twice on 2 different occasions. Business burglaries. They increased 42% from 11 in 2024 to 17 in 2025. Of those, 8 were storage units and 4 were convenience stores. We have had a problem historically with people breaking in storage units in the village. It's not uncommon to see here. It's something we try to fight, but people just give passcodes or they come in and they're undetected. Vehicle burglary. In this slide, I'm also going to cover auto theft. There were 81 vehicle burglaries in 2024 and 59 in 2025, a 27.2% decrease. Arrests were made in 17 of those cases. Vehicle burglaries accounted for 59 of the 402 reported larcenies. Of those 59 vehicle burglaries, 51, or 86.4%, were the vehicles that were left unlocked. 11 firearms were taken in burglaries to those unlocked vehicles. Additionally, there were 23 auto thefts in 2024 and 11 in 2025 for a decrease of 52.2%. Of those 11 thefts, 4, or 36%, involved keys that were left in the unlocked vehicle. Additionally, of the auto thefts, some were acquaintance-related or stemmed from reports filed by dealerships or car rental agencies for overdue vehicles or vehicles that disappeared off lots. Some involved golf carts and some involved motor vehicles. So a motor vehicle theft, people traditionally think it's your Toyota, it's your Nissan, it's your BMW. It's not necessarily that. A motorcycle, a moped, a golf cart would also count under that statute. Traffic, our biggest complaint that we receive in the village, all of which I'm sure you're very familiar with. The top 3 crash locations in the village of Royal Palm Beach were State Road 80 and US 441, which had 94 crashes, or 4 less crashes in 2025 than 2024 for a decrease of 4.1%. State Road 80 and Crestwood Boulevard, which had 72 crashes, or 8 less crashes in 2025 than 2024 for a decrease of 10%. Okeechobee Boulevard and State Road 7 had 52 or 15 less crashes in 2025 than 2024 for a decrease of 22.4%. Overall, we had 1,380 crashes in 2025, which is 87 less than 2024, or a 6% decrease. Deputies issued 7,068 traffic citations, which is up 6% from 2024, and 18,733 warnings, a 31% increase. Deputies also made 54 DUI arrests, 20 more than 2024, for a 59% increase. Our District 9 Street Crimes Unit. As you know, the unit consists of 4 deputies and 1 sergeant. They're utilized for crime suppression, problem solving, and support for road patrol. In 2025, the District 9 street team made 246 arrests, resulting in 138 felony and 98 misdemeanor charges. They also made 23 warrant arrests. They conducted 1,375 traffic stops, issued 449 citations, 866 warnings, and completed 180 field interview reports. Additionally, they authored and executed 15 search warrants and assisted with an additional 40 other search warrants. Now, I know the number 40 sounds great, but nowadays, with criminals using cell phones and other communication devices, a lot of times the warrants we ask for are not your traditional go kick the front door and go looking for stolen property drugs. They're search warrants to access electronic devices by which to build cases and provide evidence that a suspect was in a certain area at a certain time something was committed. Our District 9 detectives, together they were assigned 265 cases, they made 86 arrests, and had a case clearance rate of 43.2%. The LPR cameras the village was kind enough to give us have once again proven beneficial. This year they detected 157 vehicles that were stolen or used in other crimes both inside and outside of the village. This resulted in 36 arrests, 8 recovered stolen vehicles, and 5 grand theft auto arrests. Our quality survey, as we've done in years past, I continue to have my staff send out quality surveys to those we have contact with. I do so as a means by which to gauge the public satisfaction with the services rendered by the District 9 deputies. Surveys were mailed to 480 people who requested our assistance. Of those, only 46 responded. Of those, 93 rated us as excellent, while 7% rated us as good. My 2026 goals are listed above, but crime reduction and, more importantly, traffic safety, as well as obedience to traffic laws, remains on the forefront of our enforcement efforts. In 2026, District 9 deputies will continue to do what they have done, always will do, and will do under my command, which is make sure that the village of Royal Palm Beach is a safe place for the people who live here, the people who do business here, and the people who come to visit, use our parks and recreation facilities. That being said, I'll turn the floor over to any questions you might have, and I thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you, Captain. Council, anyone care to comment or ask any questions of Captain Aldrich? Okay. Madam Vice Mayor.
Captain, I just want to say that I honestly and sincerely appreciate all that you and the other officers do. I tell people don't come to Royal Palm with that mess because we're a safe city. We're a safe village. And it's good to be able to know that, I can walk up my door and not have to worry about someone hitting me in my head and grabbing my purse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your kind words.
Councilwoman Samios, you're recognized.
Good evening. Thank you very much for everything, and to the deputies, lieutenant, and the rest of the staff, though, because they've done an incredible job. When you look at your 9.5% respond rate, when the average is 3%, that's very good. Congratulations on that. I have always found that your deputies and staff have been kind, patient, and informative, and that's just not when we call them for anything, but even throughout the community. I mean, they're very good about informing everyone different policies that are going on, making sure that they're aware of what's happening if they've created an infraction. My question regarding the shoplifting, and you had mentioned the 5 major businesses. Do you find that the increase is due to their store policy as far as not prosecuting or letting a certain dollar amount go? Are they helping or hurting?
2025 is significantly better than 2024, and it had more so to do with the delayed reporting than it had to do with prosecution and some of the store's policies as it pertains to confronting shoplifters at the time in which the shoplifting occurs. You're welcome.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the council? If not, Captain, I want to thank you very much. Anytime you can report a significant decrease in important metrics like that, it's an indication that you all are doing a great job, and we appreciate that. We know it's a difficult thing, especially since we wind up with new opportunities, new considerations, things like e-bikes, e-scooters, and things of that nature, which I suspect you're going to need some more legislation to be able to actually take action with regard to those. But if you have any comments on that, I'd be interested.
I just actually had our deputies conduct Operation E-Moto, not last week, but the week before. I'm aware of some of the tragic incidents that occurred in some of our surrounding neighboring villages and cities. Fortunately, knock on wood, we haven't had any of those in the village yet. I understand and support e-bikes when they're used the way they're supposed to be, when all the safety features that should be worn are being worn and they're operated in the location in the manner in which they're designed to. I also see some of these e-bikes, e-moto bikes that aren't supposed to be on sidewalks, that are being driven in roadways, that are being driven without helmets, with 2 or 3 or 4 kids driving on the middle of Okeechobee Boulevard. Some of the traffic laws we have at this point in time are great in addressing that, but I believe that we could perhaps do a little better as it pertains to pedestrian safety on some of the sidewalks, and maybe not for those that operate them the way they should, but for those that don't.
Okay, would you see those laws being best put in place locally or at state level? Do you have any thoughts on that?
We do have certain state statutes, but perhaps some of the laws that we can enact locally might be a tool. I'm always looking for more tools, sir, state and local. Whichever way they come, as long as they help, I'm good with it.
Okay, great. Well, and of course, we have the never-ending unlocked car routine, which is unfortunate. And I guess at this point, all we can do is continue to bring it up, continue to point it out, continue to put it up on the signs, reminding people. It's always mind-boggling to me that people would leave weapons in their car, guns in their car. At the end of the day, being surprised or not doesn't matter. It's an issue, it's a problem, and staying after it, I think, is the right thing to do. So I just want to thank you and your staff, your deputies, for all the great work that you all do. That's a tough job. It really is in so many different ways, and we greatly appreciate the work you're doing.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words, Mayor. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then moving on to council regular agenda item number 2. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Annual Report. We're doing these back to back. Look at this. Public safety. All right. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I don't have to start over, do I? I'm going to start with
appreciation. That's all right. We're good with that.
Yes. I'm going to start with a little quick new video that we have highlighting some of our services and new services, and then I'll get into city specifics. So hopefully this link works. Randy. I'm learning.
I'm not supposed to give a presentation until July. How am I doing?
I knew he was the guy.
Well, I'm not there yet. Doesn't seem to want to go. Let's try another browser.
There we go.
Thank you.
Well, now we have to hear audio.
I hear something.
Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is one of the largest professional fire departments in the state of Florida, and we're here when you need us the most, responding to just about every emergency you can imagine. With 50 strategically located fire stations crossing more than 1,800 square miles, we serve the visitors and residents of Palm Beach County in their greatest time of need with integrity, unity, compassion, accountability, and dedication as our core values. Our units respond to roughly 152,000 911 calls a year and growing. We are an all hazards, all emergency response, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our first responders are cross-trained in firefighting and emergency medicine, which means a more efficient system to mitigate fires of all kinds, buildings, cars, brush fires, and wildfires. Vehicle accidents. Firefighters are skilled at using the jaws of life to free trapped occupants. We respond to all kinds of emergency medical calls, everything from slips and falls to cardiac arrests. We are an ISO Class 1 rated fire department. So what does that gold #1 stand for? For the community, it means peace of mind, knowing you have the highest level of fire and life safety protection available. We score among the top 0.01% of fire departments nationwide. As always, we are poised and ready to continue breaking new ground in emergency medicine, meeting the community's need time and time again. And that's not all. We respond on land and in the water with an airboat, dive rescue teams, and now jet skis. In the air, it's Palm Beach County Fire Rescue paramedics and nurses that treat patients on both of the Palm Beach County Healthcare District's 2 aeromedical helicopters, known as Traumahawk. Traumahawk can fly a patient from Belle Glade to a trauma center on the East Coast in 15 minutes, saving precious time and lives. We have highly skilled advanced hazardous materials teams that handle special operations, chemical or fuel spills and leaks, strange chemicals or white powder substances, biohazardous conditions, explosive devices or explosions, working directly with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Bomb Squad. We conduct high-angle rescues, rescuing someone stuck up high or down low. In ditches, it's called trench rescue. We rescue small animals and large animals, everything from ducks to horses. Our 911 dispatch center inside the Emergency Operations Center answers more than 216,000 911 calls overall each year. We dispatch for our own coverage areas and 13 additional municipalities. Our highly trained dispatchers can walk you through CPR over the phone or even delivering a baby. Operators always immediately dispatch the closest trucks while still on the phone with you using a high-tech mapping and GPS system, keeping our response times at an average of 6 minutes and 46 seconds. This means we can get to you fast since time is of the essence in an emergency. Our CARES team provides emotional first aid on the scene of 911 calls. Dedicated health human service professionals bring compassion and resources for family members, allowing the firefighter paramedics to focus on the patient. And after a 911 call, our new mobile integrated health program is transforming the way medical and social services are delivered in Palm Beach County. Our community paramedics and medical social workers follow up with house visits. They help partner with patients to figure out long-term needs to enhance their quality of life. Florida knows storm seasons all too well, and Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is an integral part of everything from hurricane preparation to response, clearing roadways and down power lines to going door to door to get people out of areas with structural damage or floodwaters. We want you to feel safe. We're here to help you get prepared, and we're here to rescue you if you get stuck. Training around the clock keeps us learning and growing to keep our skills fresh, hosting large-scale disaster exercises at our one-of-a-kind regional training center. We prepare for active shooter terrorism attacks with a coordinated response, fire and law enforcement working hand in hand to serve the community. It's a scary thought, but a reality. Today's first responders must be prepared to encounter anything at any time. It is our duty to protect you. At Palm Beach International Airport, we have a full fire station to respond on the tarmac and in the terminals. We carry fire suppression agents to put out jet fuel fires and specialized trucks called Dragons to deal with aircraft emergencies. After a fire is out, our fire investigators also work hand in hand with the Sheriff's Office and the State Attorney's Office, digging through hundreds of fire scenes each year. When the fire is found to be intentionally set, you need to know the criminals will be stopped and caught. We close more cases than the national average, while also running a program to educate at-risk youth about the dangers and repercussions of starting fires. Our Community Risk Reduction Division fire inspectors inspect more than 30,000 buildings to keep you safe, working hand in hand with our local businesses, looking at nearly 10,000 building plans and sites before, during, and after construction. Our community educators deliver presentations to residents from 2 to 102 at schools, businesses, civic groups, healthcare facilities, and before homeowners groups. We're here to answer your questions, teaching things like fire safety, hands-only CPR, injury prevention, carbon monoxide awareness, and how to properly install a child car seat, just to name a few. The Drowning Prevention Coalition works with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue to provide free water safety education and free and reduced cost swim lessons. We want to give you and your family the knowledge to prevent bad things from happening in the first place. We wouldn't be able to make all of this happen if it weren't for all the work done behind the scenes by support services at our administrative complex and at the shop, maintaining our fleet of more than 500 vehicles. It is an honor to serve the citizens of Palm Beach County. We do it with dignity, compassion for each other and for our community, and pride in our country and our mission. The men and women of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue are so proud to be your fire department. Our vision for serving Palm Beach County: excellence today, improving tomorrow.
I did it.
Yeah, excellent video.
Thank you. So as you are well aware, the two stations that predominantly serve the village of Royal Palm are Station 28, which is right here in your own backyard. Hang on. And then Station 29 over on Belvedere, and you're immediately backed up by Station 21 just a little bit down on Okeechobee Boulevard, and Station 25 in Wellington Trace, and then Station 34 is over off Benoist Farms, and then Station 26 is just down the road a little bit to the north off of Avocado. Our depth of service, and it's important that I share this because I want you to know you're never without service. So our daily minimum staffing is 354 personnel. We have 56 advanced life support rescues, 42 advanced life support engines, 4 ALS squads, 4 ALS aerials, 2 special operations units, 4 tenders, 4 personal rescue watercrafts, 9 district chiefs, 10 battalion chiefs, 10 EMS captains, 1 light and air, and 19 brush trucks, and 4 ARF vehicles, or otherwise known as those dragons that you saw in the video. And again, I share this because it's our depths of service. If Station 29 and 28 that predominantly serve the village of Royal Palm are at required training or are on another emergency response, we move up another unit from another area, and it's just a domino effect to make sure that you and your residents always have coverage. Last year, fiscal year 2025, there was 5,092 calls to the village of Royal Palm Beach with a total average response time of 6 minutes and 24 seconds. The county average, I believe, was 6 minutes and 48 seconds, and we strive, it's in our comp plan, to be 7 minutes and 30 seconds or less. So we're doing pretty good there. 76% of those calls were medical calls. We had 443 alarms, which would be a carbon monoxide alarm or a fire alarm or another type of alarm that may go off. 428 vehicle accidents, 254 assists or investigations, 54 actual fires, 28 hazardous situations, and then 14 MIH calls, which is the mobile integrated health unit that comes out that's staffed with paramedics and social workers. I'm always happy to see when the residents are utilizing that service. The EMS call statistics, we had 30 trauma alerts, 3,030 patients transported, 20 STEMI alerts, which are heart attacks, active heart attacks, 57 stroke alerts, and 34 sepsis alerts. As you know, we do randomized patient satisfaction surveys that go out, and of the 89 residents from Royal Palm that participated, they gave us a 98.7 overall % of satisfaction. Community Risk Reduction Division, we had 898 inspection activities, 910 construction inspection activities, 429 plans reviews, 145 community activities with 2,752 participants. Our Community Risk Reduction Division consists of existing plans reviews, plan review and new construction investigations, community education, and the Drowning Prevention Coalition. some of the new service enhancements that we implemented in 2025. One of them was a traffic preemption program, and this was mostly thanks to the CSX road closure off of North Lake Boulevard. We hurry up and did the traffic preemption, the Glance traffic preemption program. And the traffic preemption program uses cellular and radio communication to report the vehicle's GPS location, its speed, its direction of travel, and the basic vehicle telemetry. And what that does is when an emergency vehicle is going code 3 with lights and sirens, and as it's approaching an intersection, the traffic light will turn green to keep the flow of traffic going. So that will also help us improve on response times as well. Another implementation last year was, you're well aware of our whole blood program that we implemented 2 years ago. Well, now we're carrying plasma as well. So the addition of plasma alongside the whole blood gives us an even more advanced approach to treating patients with severe hemorrhage and hemorrhagic shock. The two products complement each other by addressing the three major problems of blood loss: loss of oxygen carrying capacity, loss of blood volume, and the loss of the body's ability to clot. So we have 10 EMS Captain vehicles that carry plasma and 7 EMS Captain vehicles that carry whole blood. We also have plasma and whole blood on both of the Trauma Hawks. Another exciting piece of information, our urban search and rescue team, which we're the only one in Palm Beach County, and the next one would be down in Miami, they were upgraded from a Type 4 USAR team to a Type 3 USAR team, which means a couple of additions that gave us that Type 3 recognition was we'd have 2 canine search dogs for live cadaver dogs and live for search for live victims. Also adds medical directors and surgeons and a structural engineer as part of the team that actually goes out on deployment with the team. We have dedicated swift water unit that has achieved a Type 1 designation, which is the highest level. It's staffed by expert personnel equipped with boats capable of operating in fast-moving, debris-filled waters. That was it, short and sweet. Any questions?
All right, great. Well, thank you for that. I feel like my anyway. Yeah, turning to the council for comments or questions. Councilman Valentes, you're recognized.
I'd like to thank you, Chief, so much for the wonderful service that fire rescue provides everybody. I just wanted to know if there was any, I noticed there was a minor uptick in the response time this year. Is that just more traffic, more, and it's variable for years, so I know, you watch the trend, it could go up, it could go down, and especially with the construction projects on, Southern 441 and...
Yes, you are correct. All of that are variables. I think that traffic is insane everywhere, and then we do have the road construction, although the village staff is very good about communicating that with us early enough that we can put in a note in our computer-aided dispatch system if there is a detour route or if there is a road closure. But during those peak hours, like I said, we worked with the staff and they tried to adjust it for the road closure times. But all of that, weather and the traffic congestion. But I do think next year I'm excited to see with the traffic preemption how the response times will improve with the lights turning green as we approach. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Councilwoman Samuels, you're recognized.
Good evening. Thank you very much for your presentation. And again, with all the staff that we've had and all the events that we do, and they're always there. So they're always very responsive and compassionate with everything they do. Thank you. And just to clarify, there is no longer a hiring freeze. So if anybody is interested.
There is no longer a hiring freeze. However, I don't know what's going to happen with this property tax referendum. You heard earlier about $184 million of our budget is going to be impacted if that property tax passes. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know what that looks like for us and where we would have to make cuts. I know the very last thing that she to lay people off, or close a fire station. That would be terrible. So I don't know if there would be a hiring freeze in our future.
Thank you. And then if you could just speak briefly on, there are 3 different things that you, that the fire station offers, actually all through the county. Number 1, it was Safe Place for Teens.
Yes.
Number 2, the infants received. And number 3, the Yellow Dot program for our seniors.
Yes. In years past, I brought some of that information with me, and I didn't tonight, but I can for the next council meeting and leave them on the back if any residents would like to take that. But the Yellow Dot program is a sticker that goes on the windshield, and it tells them that there's information if a person were to become incapacitated or unresponsive and they can't answer any questions. There's a pamphlet in their glove box that they would have filled out previously that let us know who to contact in the case of emergency, what medications are on their medical history. And fire stations are all designated as safe place locations where people can drop off a newborn, no questions asked, and so we do receive newborns. And it is also a safe place for teen runaways for them to come out, and so we would work with DCF and law enforcement if that were the case.
Thank you. And when you bring the information, if you could also bring the decals for the houses for how many pets as well, please.
We do have those as well. It's a decal that goes on one of the, we like it to be by, your front door or someplace close to your front door, and it tells us how many cats and how many dogs you have in the home in case there were to be a structure fire. If the residents are at home, at least we know that there's animals inside that we need to go in and look for. Thank you for bringing that up.
Manager.
Put it a little bit in perspective with the referendum that may come here in November. Their fire rescue is funded mostly through property tax. I think 85% of their funding is through property tax. You saw the numbers that were given to us earlier at 187. On the village standpoint, it's about $7.5 million less funding from the village for fire rescue. They're funded about $18 million now from the village through property tax. You can't have a budget funding conversation without having a service level conversation, because we are all in the service industry, and the service of fire rescue with $7.5 million less would look different. There's no question about it.
Indeed.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the kind of information that needs to get out to the public. It is a real world scenario kind of a thing, and I think it's important for us to have that information and be able to share it with others. So, Chief, thank you so much for what you do. Is there a particular operational challenge that you see coming up this year? Anything unique? I mean, I know that you all stay trained up on new materials, things that change, structural kinds of considerations. You do what the military does, which is prepare for.
Yes.
Continuously, basically. I was just wondering if there was anything unique operationally that you're
Honestly, operationally speaking, I can't think of anything as far as technically, a skill or a resource that would be a challenge. Really, truthfully, the real challenge is going to be what comes to pass at the vote in November. That is going to be a significant challenge for our human resources. And you said it earlier, you can't have the programs if you don't have the people. And so that really is our greatest challenge up on the horizon.
And indeed, I mean, the specialized training that you all have, the investment, the time, the level of skill, and all of that kind of thing, perhaps makes it even more problematic.
Yes.
For you, for PBSO, for others that require that level of expertise. So we thank you so much for what you do. We love having 28 and 29 in Royal Palm Beach, especially when it's time for a flag to be hung from a 100-foot ladder truck. But
it's always impressive.
I mean, you all are such an integral part of the village, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And I really, truly do enjoy being a part of the village. It's been 3 years that I've gotten the opportunity to serve the village, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I don't know how many more years I have left, but I plan on sticking around as long as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm getting tired of hearing about how many years certain folks in our village have left. So good for you, Chief. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, my youngest is only 9, so where am I going?
Even better. Thank you again for what you do, and thank you for what all the firefighters and rescue personnel do. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to council regular agenda item number 3, which is ordinance number 1071, certified recovery residents. This is the second reading. Would our village attorney like to read the title?
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you said, it is ordinance number 1071, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26 zoning at Article 3 administration and procedures to amend Section 26-42 reasonable accommodations in order to provide additional definitions and update the procedures and standards for reasonable accommodation requests for certified recovery residences, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 26 zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. As you said, this is second reading, so I'll answer any questions that the council has.
Okay, if there are no changes, does any member of the council have any questions? All right, not seeing any, then I will look for a motion and, I'm sorry, please.
Public comment, if we could, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, public
Thank
comment, yes. Any comments from the public on regular agenda item number 3, certified recovery residences? Second reading, not seeing any. No cards. Any hands raised? No, Mayor. All right, then I will close the floor to public comment. And now, I will one more time turn to the council, and it's fortunate that I did. Councilman Valentes. Did you
No
have a comment?
comments, no substantive comments. I thought it was time for motion.
Okay, well then, let's move to the motion.
I'd make a motion to approve regular agenda item R3.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Councilwoman Rodesky.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. See, we're learning how to use this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any opposed. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to council regular agenda item number 4, another ordinance. This is the first reading for ordinance number 1069, dealing with artificial turf. Turn to our village attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you said, it's ordinance number 1069, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 15 Landscaping and Vegetation Management at Section 15-144 Artificial Turf in order to comply with recent changes to state law, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 15 Landscaping and Vegetation Management shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. This is first reading. Briefly, this is manifestation of last year's legislative session. As you recall, the village was preempted by the legislature from prohibiting artificial turf in single-family residential properties of 1 acre in size or less. So what we were waiting for between last year's legislative session and now is the state law required the FDEP, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, to come up with rules that would apply to artificial turf on single-family residential properties of 1 acre or less in size. They went through that rulemaking process. It's a lengthy process. Those rules were implemented and are effective as of May 19th. So what this ordinance that is before you does is, as you all know, you had an artificial turf ordinance on the books. Because we are no longer allowed to regulate to the same degree those single-family residential properties that are 1 acre or less in size. We have carved out those properties, and we are allowed to regulate only very minimally those properties. We're allowed to prohibit, under the new law, the installation of artificial turf in swales, in rights-of-ways, and in easements. So we've maintained the places we can regulate. There's also a very limited permeability regulation that we can have, but again, very limited. So we've maintained where we can regulate, and we have maintained your existing artificial turf regulations that will still apply to any other property that is not a single-family residential property of 1 acre or less. So that all is said to say that this ordinance is bringing your current code into compliance with the state law. So now those single-family residences are referenced to be following the FDEP's regulations rather than the village code. Everybody else has to comply with your existing regulations. We did not change those at all. We just separated out the properties that we are preempted from prohibiting the turf on. And with that, I'll stop and answer any questions that the council has.
All right, thank you. Well, let me see if there are any public comments. Do we have any hands? We have no cards, no hands raised. Anyone in the audience care to make any comment on this item? Not seeing any, I'll close the floor to public comment, and then we'll move to the council to see if you all have any questions. Councilwoman Samios, you are recognized.
Actually, and for the village attorney then, is there any regulation on what type of artificial turf? Because I know that we've had in the past residents who've come who've been very specific on their different types, different levels.
So I brought, for those properties, and are you asking about the single-family properties? Yes, so the DEP regulations, they do have restrictions about it has to be green, it has to be, there are restrictions as to what can be installed, there's compaction restrictions, there's quality restrictions. So those are all dealt with in the DEP's regulations. For the single-family properties of 1 acre or less, there are regulations there.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Councilman Valentes, you are recognized.
Okay. I guess I just want to make a comment or a heads up for our village residents. The way I read this, and please, village attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not a substitute for what we have now. So if you have a completely grass lawn over your entire property, the way I read this, you cannot replace all of that with artificial turf, because in this legislation, you can't put it in easements, you can't put it in rights of way, can't put it in swales, and if you have, like I would think most people do, like I do, you have an irrigation system, you're also going to have to go in and cap those off if you replace it with the turf. So it's not just now I can do turf, I can put it anywhere I want. There are certain limitations as to where it could be done, and particularly easements, because I know looking at my survey, there's a lot of easements on your property. So you're not, and am I incorrect in saying that this will not allow you to cover artificial turf on those easements?
That is absolutely correct. Your read is exactly right.
All right, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, great. Any other comments or questions? So this is just basically bringing us into alignment with the latest legislation.
Yes, sir, with state law.
Okay, which we have no choice.
Unfortunately, yes, I did have to bring you an ordinance
Okay,
that you don't have any
just to be
choice
clear on
but to
that.
adopt.
Right. So, all right, no further questions, then I will look for a motion. Okay, I'm still getting used to this. Okay, Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that we approve agenda item number 4 with the necessary corrections if there be any.
Councilman Valentes, you are recognized.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. The last agenda item is council meeting date change. We heard a little bit about that earlier this evening. It was brought up at the last month's council meeting, and it is now on the agenda to be addressed. Councilwoman Samios brought it up. Would you like to open the discussion?
Sure, thank you. So we have our meetings either the first or third Thursday of the month. And in December, the third Thursday falls right before the holidays. So each year I always ask, can we please have the meeting moved to the first Thursday? So this, I would like to make it permanent, that we would have our December meeting the first Thursday of December going forward, so that we don't have a conflict with the holidays or other things going on.
Okay, discussion. Councilman Valentes, you're recognized.
Yeah, I'd like to, I don't have an issue with changing the dates, but it's not true that it wouldn't involve the holidays, because one of the commenters brought it up that it wouldn't involve the holidays. And according to the brief research I did on the internet, there will be between 2026 and 2037, 4 times it will conflict with Hanukkah. However, again, this is just research off the cuff. If we keep it where it is now, 3 times it's going to conflict with Hanukkah. So I don't see one year being a difference, but it's not that it's not going to conflict with the holidays in December, but 3 versus 4 is not a big deal to me. I don't think that's a huge reason, and I think for practical purposes, it probably makes sense, but I would also put out the caveat because there's, it's completely possible we have a December 1st meeting, and then we don't have another meeting for a month and a half. But again, nothing prevents us from having another meeting if there's pressing business that we have to do, and the council can make the decision at that time. I just want to, put that out there and show my concerns, but I'm not against it. I can go with this.
Okay, all right. Any other comments? Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if we pass this just with the caveat that we add that if there are any extenuating circumstances, that they'll be addressed at that time regarding the date, I think that should take care of any issues that comes, like with a holiday, as Councilman Vellante stated, or something else that may come up that will stop us. But adding that caveat and moving the date to the first Thursday, I think would suffice in making sure that we meet our requirements and be available for the meeting forthwith.
Any other comments? All right, well then, so one approach would be to put this condition, as the Vice Mayor just suggested, on it. Another would be to take it on every year, pretty much as we've been doing as we come along. I don't have a problem with making it a regular adopted change, which we do for the summer months as well, with the understanding that if we need, we can always call a special meeting, and to be sure that we don't adversely impact getting business done, trying to strike that balance between holidays, presence, activities, engagement, availability to the public, availability to applicants, all of those kinds of things are a consideration. And to have the ability to call a special meeting is something I don't think we need to cite anything different. Village Attorney?
No, sir, you have that latitude in your code and charter.
So we have that. So with that in mind, unless there's any further comment, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve regular agenda item number 5 with it being stated as in perpetuity.
Okay. And Councilwoman Rodusky? Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any opposed. It passes unanimously. I want to recognize Mr. Manager.
Before you adjourn, I just wanted a moment to show you something, because I didn't want to do this before the meeting or during the meeting, because it might, I didn't want to get anybody lost. But what we did in setting this up, we were trying to do two different things. One, give you an easy way to raise your hand. But the other thing was to put the agenda right here. It's at the top, we keep it open, and you can go to the agenda.
Right.
And you can even pull up the backup to it. And
I've been doing that.
Yeah.
right in front of you, and then you can go back and you can always toggle back to your thing here. It should be pretty safe. It shouldn't be where you can get locked out of it. I guess if you hit the X and X out of it, but it was set up so that you could toggle back and forth. And you would have the whole agenda in front of you all the time, instead of having a paper, which is a lot more difficult to go through. Have it right here on the iPad. Thank you.
Yeah, and that has worked very well. I was cautioned by Mr. Brown that we would have maybe an 8-second delay flipping back and forth, and it's even quicker than that. I mean, I did exactly what you said. It really does work. I have the agenda on the screen. Just tap the individual agenda item, you get the backup. It's really good. It works really well. Any comments from anyone else about how well this is working? Everyone seemed to be. I have a couple of comments. So, Councilwoman Rodusky, you're recognized.
Thank you. I like pushing the button. The process seems to work nicely. Although, just an opinion, as we get to motions, our regular first and second seem to flow better without having to push the button. So just maybe we could not have to do it for first and second.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
All Yes, Madam Vice Mayor.
It works fine. I just apologize for forgetting to hit my button. I'll get used to that button. But thank you for that, village manager and IT. Greatly appreciate it.
Councilman Valentes, you're recognized.
I agree with Councilwoman Radusky on the motion part of it instead of going by the pressing buttons.
Okay. All right, good. Well, we can make that adjustment. That's why this is a beta test, and this is one of the more successful beta tests I've ever been involved in. So I thank Randy Brown and company for the hard work they did on this. They actually developed the app themselves, so well done, well done. Any further business to come before the council? Not seeing any, then this meeting, happy 4th of July.
Juneteenth tomorrow. Juneteenth tomorrow.
Juneteenth tomorrow, 4th of July, the 4th of July. And please show up at Commons Park. We're looking forward to it. Thank you. You all have a great night.
Are we adjourned?
We are.